There we go.
So of course, I'll do like of course for the podcast, I'll do an intro and whatnot. All right.
Yeah.
So you of course have experience in financial tech, investment banking. You've been in the game for 30 years, and
Yep.
what made you kind of go outside the corporate route and invest in your own company, make your own company, such as investor?
So look, I mean, I spent 30 years in banking. I started way back. I'm a millennial, but just the different millennium. But I started way back in 1983 at JP Morgan, and I spent 30 years on Wall Street. And then in about, after the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, I realized that there were three technologies that were coming together that would enable us to completely transform the way that we delivered financial services to consumers, right? To everyone on the street. And those three technologies, it's obvious now, but at the time, it was maybe less obvious, was cloud, mobile, and social. And cloud and mobile, everyone gets. The thing that has made Investor very, very different is that right from the beginning, and I'm talking the beginning for Investor was in 2013, we recognized that social was such an important part of investing. For me, I've always believed that markets are about people fundamentally. And to be a good investor, you need to understand what other people are thinking and doing. And the best way to do that, if you can't, access, I mean, when I was working on Wall Street, I had trading floors of 1,000 people. If you're not sitting on a trading floor of 1,000 people, a social network is a much better way to understand what people are thinking and doing. And so, for us, social and using social media to connect people, to help people learn from each other, that's always been a core part of our driver. So it was those three technologies, cloud, mobile, and social, that I realized that we could make a really massive change. And, it's a word that's used a lot, but we could really democratize the way that investing happens. From my perspective, the information revolution, and I'm talking about, even with the start of the public internet way back in 1995, the information revolution, all the phases it's been through, whether it's kind of getting access to the web, whether it's getting access to each other through social networks, whether it's about the sharing economy with things like Uber and Airbnb, or even crypto and blockchain more recently. It's all about one thing. It's about empowering individuals. It's about empowering people to manage their lives, and as we say, to take charge of their lives in a way that's very, very different. And so Investor is all about empowering people to become great investors, to take charge of their financial future, and to become the best investors that they can be. And that's been enabled by these technologies that really started in the early 2000s.
For sure, and it's so important for millennials, even Gen Z. You see all these people, all these influencers talking about personal finances, and I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people in the financial industry in terms of entrepreneurs and personal finance, and they always tell me that they're frustrated with the public school systems because they have to learn about personal finance on their own, right?
Yep.
And you can see nowadays on TikTok, Instagram, but mainly TikTok, that people are really engaging in personal finances. And I think with fintech and what's going on with social media, it's a huge opportunity here. But take us back. So of course, people love, when I was in school, people were dying to be, to work in a banking sector, right? To be
Right.
investment bankers, right? Because that's where the money is. But in your case, you've been there, done that. You worked at Wall Street. Now, did you have investors to invest in your company, investor, or did you bootstrap everything when you first started?
So combination of the two.
Okay.
We bootstrapped. I mean, I've been funding it as well, and then we also had outside investors. And so I was in a fortunate position, to be able to put some money in myself, and also to attract. I mean, we started with one other outside investor, so it was really just the two of us funding the business, and that's grown over time. That's changed. We've had more investors come in. We just had a super successful entrepreneur come in as a significant investor just in the last couple of weeks. So we're very excited to have him on board. And we've got, around 20, investors in total in the business right now. So that's where we are.
Okay. And you always, focused on app development. So was that kind of the first investment or the priority when you started Investor to have an application?
Yeah, we thought about it a lot, way back. I mean, I started to have this idea in 2010, 2011. And, when you look back, things are obvious. At the time, we were asking ourselves, do we want a native app? Do we want desktop? How do we want to deliver this thing? And my belief, right from the beginning was that we needed to be mobile. I thought that mobile technology is the perfect technology for financial markets and for investing, because financial markets move all the time. And through a mobile, you can be connected to financial markets all the time. And with the growth in crypto is literally 24/7. Most other financial markets don't trade 24/7, but crypto is 24/7. But with a mobile, through a mobile, you can be connected to financial markets wherever you are. And I thought that was really important. So we chose mobile to go mobile first. That's always been the heart of our strategy. And we're going to be starting to look at building desktop solutions, but we think mobile is the right channel of choice. And obviously social networks operate also mainly through mobile. And so we thought the combination of the two, financially, being close and in touch with financial markets any time of day, wherever you are, and being in touch with the social network through mobile, it made perfect sense to use mobile as a channel. And then the second decision was, do we build a native mobile app, or do we build an HTML app? And we thought about that long and hard. And for us, the thing that we like to excel in is the customer experience and the user experience. And if you really want to deliver a first-rate user experience, you've got to go native. And so we built native Apple and Android apps, and people, we get rave reviews. People love the experience. We've won numerous awards now, App of the Year, and I think all of those decisions that we made were the right decisions.
You guys approached almost 1 million downloads, right, since March?
Correct.
Or have you passed that?
We've had a lot of people, download the app over the last few years, and we've had people download the app in over 200 countries around the world. So, the thing that you were saying earlier, I think there's just a massive need for financial education. People, particularly the younger generations now, your generation, people understand fundamentally that money matters. And I think we've all seen from the last financial crisis 10, 11 years ago, we've all seen how important money is, and how important investing is. And I think people are much more aware, and they want to be educated. I think I'm so bullish on the millennial generation, on Gen Z. I think you guys are smarter, more aware, more plugged in. You've got better values in a way than my generation had. I mean, I think these are fantastic generations. And I think people are very aware, and they want to learn. People want to learn. There are hundreds of millions of people all around the world who want to learn. And the education system has done a really poor job of educating people about money. And the industry that I used to be in for 30 years, the finance industry, went out of its way to discourage people from really getting to understand, learn about money. And it's obvious why, because we created this myth that you need to be an expert, that investing and everything to do with money is super complicated, and you need to be an expert to understand it. And that's the way that we persuaded people to give us, all their money to manage, and the industry was able to charge, 1%, 2%, 3%, sometimes more on that money. So it's, that myth was created, these barriers were created, that investing was hard and complicated. And everything that we do at Investor is designed to break down those barriers, to destroy that myth, and to show to people that investing is fun, that we're all, I have this belief that we're all natural investors. We're born with the ability to invest. I mean, when you think about investing goes beyond investing money. I mean, we invest in ourselves, we invest in our relationships, we invest our time, we invest our energy, and we invest our money. So we naturally know how to invest. It's something that we do in other parts of our life. And when it comes to investing money, what you need, the skills that you need is you need to understand when things are going up. You need to understand when things are going down. Babies understand those concepts, and you need to understand human emotions, right? Because human emotions ultimately drive markets. Fear and greed and expectations, those are the things that drive markets. And again, those are things that we're born with. So we think at Investor, we believe that everyone can be an investor. There's nothing holding anyone back from being an investor. And we believe, moreover, that you can learn how to become a good investor in the same way that you learn to play a sport or a musical instrument. You've got to get fit, you've got to practice, and then you've got to go out in the field and you've got to perform. And in a financial sense, getting fit is about reading the news, understanding what's going on in the world. I mean, for me, intelligence is about understanding your environment. So, financial intelligence is about understanding what's going on in the world. And then secondly, understanding how that's impacting markets. So if you can follow the news and follow the markets and see how markets react in relation to the news, and then if you can talk to people and understand why they did what they did, then you're financially fit. In my book, that's how you get to be financially fit.
So is that why? I was gonna ask. So is that why within the investor app you want to have a social aspect of it, at the same time have the informative side, not just have data and articles and graphs, but have a social side to it so people can communicate and collaborate?
Absolutely, you're spot on, Andres. I mean, so we have the news. We have lots of news. We get about 20,000 bits of unique content going through the app every day. We have streaming real-time data. We have historical charts. We have comparison charts. We have technical charts, which a lot of people find very, very useful. So you've got all of the data and information, and we continue to add really high quality information on about 5,000 stocks in the US. And then on top of that, you've got access to people. So you've got this community of people, all of whom are learning, all of whom are investing. We've got young kids on there, in the early teens. We've got grandparents on there as well. And the thing that brings them all together is they're all trying to learn and to invest. And the great thing, I mean, the app's got lots of amazing features, but the thing that people, I would say, love the most, and that one of the things I'm proudest of, is not the features per se, but the community that we've built. And this community around the world who are helping people in the feed, who are interacting in private leagues. We've had 70,000 private leagues created, some with thousands of members in them. And anytime anyone joins, they go into a kind of a new user league. So they immediately have a support network, a community where they can meet other people, ask questions, learn. And for me, that's been really, really, one of the most powerful aspects is creating that community where we're all in it together. And it's got some really, powerful benefits. When there are so many things that you could buy or sell and invest in, doing it on your own is a real challenge, right? Even for me, how do I go through 5,000 things and figure out, where are the best investments? And having this family, this community of people, all helping each other out, it means that there are hundreds of thousands of people or thousands of people on, tens of thousands of people on any day who are looking at the markets and, finding things that other people should be investing in, or finding things that we should stay away from. And so it's like going, there's a whole posse of people helping you in investing. And that's where I think that's the real power of Investor, is this incredibly positive community that we've created of people helping each other. And that's how we learn.
Was that one of the strategies for Investor, to kind of have a closed system here? And by that, I mean, you have a system where you have the information coming in. You don't have to go to YouTube or Google to look for the information, because you have, streams, you have articles and whatnot. And then you have the community, and you added a gamification aspect to it where people can invest, but not with the real money, but as a game in of itself. So it's kind of a closed loop system. And like that people stay on the app and are engaged?
Yeah, look, we want to make it, we want to make it really convenient for people to learn. And if you think about the things that, we all love to do on our phones, on our smartphones, we read the news, we chat with friends, we play games, right? Gaming is a huge thing. We play games, and then every so often we buy things, right? And all of those things you can do on Investor. There's no need to go anywhere else, right? You can read the news, you can chat with your friends, you can direct message, you can direct message your friends, you can create groups with friends, so you can go one-on-one or one-to-many, or you can join the feed and comment on the feed and find other people to follow and be followed by, through the feed. So you can interact any way that you want. You can create a public audience and become an influencer, or you can create, groups with your classmates, your colleagues, your family, your friends, or you could just have a one-on-one conversation, a DM conversation, with a close friend or someone else. I mean, so, we've created that ability to communicate in the way that you want to communicate. That exists, and that's really powerful. So you're right. We put everything together in this one experience. The gaming side is really important, because I was talking earlier about, one of the things you got to do is you got to get financially fit. The other thing you've got to do is you got to practice, right? You wouldn't go out and play, tennis with Rafael Nadal without practicing first, right? And particularly if you're doing it for money. And so why on earth would anyone want to go out and take on the big hedge fund managers or Wall Street or, sophisticated investors without practicing? And so the fantasy finance game is not only something that's super fun and, people tell us it's addictive because we've got the streaming real-time data and it's moving all the time, but it's also just a great way to practice without taking any risk. So you can play the game and you can play it just for fun, but you can play it and test out your strategies and learn. And so that when you go out into the real world and you start investing with real money, you've had that experience, you know what it's like, you know how markets move up and down, you know how different stocks behave in different ways. You've had that experience, and you've had that experience without having to take any risk. So, I mean, the only thing that's not real when you play fantasy finance is the money, right? Everything else is real. The prices are real, they're up to the second, the news is real, the whole, everything else is real. And so it's just a great environment to learn without having to take any risk. So when you do eventually open up a real brokerage account, you've had, you're ready to face, the world with a little bit more experience and training underneath you.
No, I think that's a fantastic idea, because yeah, I mean, in the stock market, from what I hear, there's winners and losers. And of course, if you go into the stock market without any experience, you're going to be, throwing yourself in the deep end. And of course you can survive, but if you have that experience first, that know-how to some degree, you can be a lot more prepared, right? And then of course, through the Investor app, you can really hone in on other people's networks and just build up your financial literacy and get better as an investor overall.
Look, that's spot on. I mean, everything we've been doing, as said earlier, is about empowering people. It's about helping people learn. And we do it, in three ways, actually. So we do it through the social network that we've built and the very powerful community that we've built. We do it through, through the game, through fantasy finance. So you can learn by doing, you can learn by playing. Learning by playing is something that we do when we're young kids. It's a natural way for all of us to learn. And then the third thing that we added is that we also have something that we call Investor Academy, because yes, I can learn by playing on my own. I can learn from other people as well. But there are some things that I need to, study, that I need to learn, not probably in a more structured way, not necessarily a formal way, but in a more structured way.
Yeah.
And so we built Investor Academy, and what Investor Academy is 86 bite-sized lessons. You can listen to them, or you can read them in the app. They're bite-sized lessons. They're written in a way that anyone can understand. And 86 of these lessons organized into 10 modules, and you start at the beginning and you go through to the end. We've had people who've gone through them in 2 hours. We've had people who go through them in a weekend. Most months we run an academy challenge to see, who can complete the academy. We've had over 50,000 people join the academy. So it's been really, really powerful. But the academy gives that extra structure to the learning. So that, I was having a chat with, one of our users earlier on today, and he was saying to me, Kerim, I knew nothing about investing in the world of finance, and I had this, notion that it was really complicated. And then he said, I took the academy. I went through the entire thing, and I realized actually this is just common sense, right? This is easy to understand. And I think we're really proud of the way that we've presented all of the information, the order in which it's presented, and the way it's presented so anyone can understand it. And so we think that between the academy and the social network and fantasy finance, that's just an incredibly powerful set of learning tools that are delivered, in a single app. And it just makes it fun and social and easy for people to learn to become great investors.
For sure. And I feel like having all these tools accessible to millennials and Gen Z is only a benefit, right? But I want to talk about like your story in terms of how you, like what your biggest struggles were, because I feel, fintech is huge nowadays, right? It's a huge industry. And of course, you came from a banking background. You need web developers, app developers. What was the hardest challenge, the biggest challenge that you had making or developing Investor? Was it really just making the product, finding the investors, or was it really connecting to the millennial Gen Z community? Because you can have a good product, but if you don't have a good marketing, it'll be hard to reach to your target audience, right?
Yeah, look, what I tell people a little bit facetiously is it's easy, right? You've got to build a product that people love and want and love, and then you've got to figure out a way to let them know that it's there. So those are the two challenges that we all have, and obviously that makes it sound a hell of a lot easier than it really is. I mean, getting the product right takes time and effort, and you've got to iterate, time and time again. We've been doing this for a long time now, and particularly when you're building as much as we have to offer. If you think, we're an entire social network, we're an entire market data business, we're an entire game, we're an entire online learning application, and we're about to deliver something really exciting and competitive in the brokerage and the banking and crypto space. And so we've been doing a lot, and getting all of that right at once, takes time and effort, and you don't get it right. You don't get it right the first time. The plan that we've had is the same plan that, we laid out, 7 years ago. So we're executing to that plan, but it takes time. And to your point, the thing that's most challenging is building the right team. And because with the right team, you can do anything. And building, and so I was very, very lucky. I mean, right from the beginning, I partnered up with someone, our current CTO, who runs all of our technology development. And he was someone that I knew from my professional finance days. And in fact, I had been a client of his, and he used to be a provider of technology, to my business. It was, when I was running a $5 billion business, thousands of people, and he was one of the technology partners that we had supporting us. We were spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year on technology, and he was one of our technology partners. And I thought he was one of our best technology partners. And so when I had this idea, I reached out to him and kind of showed him the vision and what we wanted to do, and he was so excited about it. He left what he was doing and he joined, and he's been my business partner all the way through. And he's just a fantastic technologist and a great person and a great friend now. And so I was very, very lucky that the technology side of things we solved very, very early, and that team has grown. But that's pretty much the core of that team is the same team that we started with a long time ago, and they've grown with the business, and they've had to learn a lot of things, because a lot of things that we're doing kind of no one else had really done before. So they've grown with the business. Getting the rest of the team right, the development is almost is one of the last phases, kind of getting the right content, designing the product, developing the product, and then marketing the product. Those are all the things that you've got to do. And so you need You need a lot of different people with different skills, different backgrounds. One of our core values is diversity beyond individual empowerment. Our other core value is diversity. And our third core value as a business is collaboration, because yeah, you can hire all of these people and eventually you can find all of the people that you need, but you've got to make them work well together. And you've got to build that team where the team is worth more than the sum of the parts, where through great collaboration we're able to achieve far more than we could individually. And so that is always, I'd say in any business, that's always the greatest challenge, is getting great people who know what they're doing, who are good at what they're doing, but not just great people who know and can work really well together. And beyond the community, I think about the things that, again, I'm super proud of. I talked about the community and the people in our community, and I'm so proud of what we've achieved there. Beyond the community, the other thing I'm kind of most proud of is the team of people that we've got. It's a highly diverse, team of people, older people like me, lots of younger people spread around the world, in the States, in Europe, in Asia. We've got people everywhere. And really skilled, but working really well together to deliver something that no one else has been able to achieve up until now. So I'm really, really, really proud of that.
I feel that there's so many moving parts, so many variables when you had your initial idea. Now, how did you have that proof of concept? You had the idea, but what were the steps taken to solidify a proof of concept and continue along the path of where you are today?
So look, we started, and we haven't always done this perfectly. What I try and tell people is that whenever you're starting a business, the starting point for a business is customers, right? Is clients. And without clients, you don't have a business, right? Without a product, you don't have a business. It's bringing together a service and people who want that service. That's what makes a business. And so one of the first things that we did several years ago was actually we surveyed around 4,000 millennials, different sub-age groups, different geographies. And we really tried to understand in a very detailed survey, what were people's attitudes towards investing and what are the things that they wanted. And the thing, from that survey, we realized, very early on that most people want to invest, most people, but equally most people weren't investing. And the reason that they weren't investing is they didn't know how to do it, or maybe they were a little bit afraid of doing it. And we realized that those were the things that we needed to break down. So we needed to make it easy. We needed to give people the knowledge. We needed to give them the confidence to become investors. And that's what we focused on. We needed to break down, said right at the beginning, we needed to break down those barriers. And part of that was making it fun and exciting and social, so people felt more naturally willing to give it a go. And we've had so many stories of people who joined Investor because they just wanted to have a bit of fun and play the game and hang out with some friends. And as they've been doing that, they've learned about investing, they've learned about the financial markets, they've realized it's not as intimidating as they thought. It's actually quite exciting and fun. And they've actually had the incentive to get more involved and to learn more, and they've become investors, and they've turned into real investors. And those are the stories that we just love. So that's always been the the purpose behind Investor.
Yeah, and the way you described it there, the way I see investors, that you go into a room filled with investors, and you're kind of afraid to go inside that room, but everyone kind of encourages you to learn, and you hold each other's hands and you learn about investing together and move forward as a group through collaboration and sharing knowledge. Of course, there's more to that, because I don't know too much about like making money in the stock market, but I know for a fact that there's going to be winners and losers. But for the most part, as a collective, if you're in a group or you're following someone who's doing wonderful work and making money, you can be part of that team and learn along the way.
You're spot on. I mean, it's been our whole thing. One of our early strap lines was, making finance social. It's all about empowering people helping people learn from each other. So if you understand what people need and want, and you can deliver that in a way that they appreciate, then you've got the makings of a really solid business. And I think that's where we are. So it's about, you were asking about proof of concept. It's about, first thing is about understanding what people want, and designing and building, and
Okay.
to that need. And then what we do all the time is we're constantly in touch, with our community, asking them questions. I mean, nowadays, before we roll anything out, any new product, any new service, any new design, the first thing we do is, we have super user groups, we reach out to them, we get their feedback. And, whatever we think internally, the last word really goes to our super users, right? We can have all the debates, we want to have internally, but if people come back and say we prefer green to blue, then it's green. I mean, it's kind of, that's pretty much the way it works. So it's about understanding what people want, and then staying, as close as possible to our friends in the community, and continuing to try and respond to what they want, and take their views into account. That's how we, that's how we're able to grow. So it's, so the proofs of concept, we roll out, we test out things people like, we develop, and then, we're always learning. We're always learning. I mean, the learning process, like life. I mean, life is just one long learning journey. And in any business, again, it's just one long learning journey. You roll things out, you learn what people like, you learn what they don't like as well. And that's how you.
Yeah. I feel in anyone's business, one might think that your product or service is the best. You can be kind of egotistical about it, but you won't know unless you ask others for feedback, because, your opinions might be completely different. And of course, you need that feedback. So when you do apply, when you do show the iteration that you made, you can send it back to the community and get more feedback, and just improve the process there. So I think, for any entrepreneur listening to this, it's good to have that. I'm not going to say have a survey to like 10,000 people, but to some degree have a proof of concept, make sure that your product or service works, and get a second opinion on it, right?
Absolutely. Look, it's a lot cheaper to build a prototype or a proof of concept, whether it's on paper or whether it's in kind of even a mobile prototype. It's a lot cheaper to do that and see how people respond to it before you go and design it, in detail, and then develop it in detail, and then realize and market it and spend all that, time and money marketing and pushing it out. It's a lot cheaper to do it in proof of concept or in a prototype, see how people respond, and then figure out, what people really want, what people really like. So definitely, testing, talking to people, knowing who your who your real customers are, being close to them, testing things with them before you go down, the heavy development route. I think that's really important.
Okay. And something that I'm very curious about, but what is, the business model behind an investor?
So look, the business model is we want to deliver the best possible experience to our users, and we want to do that. And obviously, we also want to be in a position where we're a sustainable business, that we're making enough that we can, continue to survive and exist. So there are a number of ways that you can do that. The world has gone to a commission-free kind of brokerage world where people pay nothing to invest. That in a sense is a little bit of, it's not entirely as it seems, because someone is making money somewhere along the chain. So, there are ways that you can, make money out of transactions, that other people make money out of transactions. So we get some of that value back. You can make a little bit of money by lending securities that people have with you to other people. They're willing to pay a rate of interest. So there are quids pro quo in terms of having a free service. There are ways for a business to make money back. We can make a little bit of money out of gaming. So people like to buy in-app, make in-app purchases and buy game features. So we have some of that going on as well. We will be able to make money out of advertising, not out of our core app. We've got something else very exciting that we're going to be rolling out. So there'll be some ability to make money out of that. And we're also going to be getting involved in other real financial services that we can make money out of, not from the consumer. I mean, typically our business model is we deliver most things for free to the consumer, and we make money in the background, not by selling.
Okay.
We make money in the background.
Okay. Wait. I'm still kind of confused here. So can you link your brokerage to investor? And if you do want to make an investment, that's possible, right? Or is it only an informative sort of social media aspect of, like, is investor just a social media tool / financial tool to help you invest?
So at the moment, actually, on Investor, it's reasonably well hidden, but you can open a brokerage account.
Okay.
We haven't been marketing that aggressively because we're about to change completely the way that we offer real financial services. What we've been doing up until now is educating people, helping people learn, making it fun and social and exciting for people to get into investing. And then for the most part, our users have been saying thank you very much, and they're opening brokerage accounts elsewhere. For us, the obvious next thing is we were talking earlier about providing that convenience of being able to do everything in one place. So, we're very, very soon, we're going to be coming out with a major announcement about people's ability to manage their money within Investor. I don't want to get too specific about that, but we will be, we're going to be revamping in a massive way the brokerage capability and the other financial services that we offer in a way that we think is going to be best in class, bar none.
And in terms of the content, to really inform people about the news of finance, do you have a curated team that makes custom content, or do you also use content from, say, Wall Street Journal or CNN, those sorts of platforms?
So look, great question. We create a lot of our own content. The Academy obviously is a huge amount of content that we built in-house. We push out content on a daily basis. We have a newsletter called Investor Crunch, which is fantastic. We have our own podcasts that we put out as well. So there's a lot in the green, podcasts we put out twice a week. And then, we write blogs as well. So we've got podcasts, we've got blogs, we've got daily newsletters. So we've got a lot of content that's going out. In addition to that, we pull in, I was saying earlier, about 20,000 bits of external content every single day. And what we've done internally is to build a really cool bit of technology which looks at every single one of our users. So we'll look at what you're interested in, and we'll basically matchmake between what you're interested in and the content that we've got, so that you don't need to go through the 20,000 bits of content to find what you're looking for. We do that for you, right? We do that for you in a way that's super smart. It's a patented technology that we've developed to really match up your interest, the interest of each one of our members with the content that we have. And that's delivered, and that's then delivered through the feed.
Oh, wow. So okay, so it's kind of like say the TikTok algorithm, where you like a video of a boutique or a cooking show, and you keep on liking 10 other ones, and then eventually the next day, the next minute, you have all this content based on what you liked, right? So you're kind of making that experience a lot easier for people to know what they want.
Absolutely. Look, we look at what everyone is doing in the feed, what they're liking, what they're commenting on, what they're sharing, what they're posting. We look at what they have in their watch list. We look at what they've got in their portfolio, what they're buying, what they're selling. We look at who they're following, who's following them. We look at their portfolios and what they're buying and selling. So we have this incredible amount. We look at the news that they're reading in the news feeds. We look at the instruments and everything else. We look at what they're charting. So we pull in all of this information to build a detailed profile on what every single person is interested in. And based off that profile, we say, what is the content that is most appropriate to that individual? And we match it up. And we do this, not every week or every day. We do this every 6 hours. So every 6 hours, based on what you've been doing, we're constantly changing our view of what you're interested in and delivering the content that fits it. It's the most personalized content, delivery service that we know of in the world, even including the largest, e-commerce platforms out there. It's highly, and it's a bit of technology that we had to build, because unlike e-commerce, I'm boring. I buy the same pants and I buy the same sweater, I buy the same t-shirts, year in, year out. But when it comes to money, people are changing their views all the time. Today, I might love Tesla. Tomorrow, I love Amazon. Next day, I love Apple. The next day, I love some, biotech stock. My views and my interests are changing all the time. And so what we've had to do is to develop a way to change our understanding of what you're interested in almost as quickly as you're changing, your interests. That technology is unique. It's patent pending. And we use that to make the content experience really first rate for everyone. So yes,
Sure.
Similar to TikTok, I don't know what their algorithm is like. I mean, I think they do that phenomenally well. But we've been perfecting this bit of technology now for several years, and it works incredibly well.
Sure. And you're saying that, anyone can create an account and, say, for lack of a better term, become an influencer in the space of investor, right? And people can follow them, see what they're doing. So what is it exactly, if someone were to create an account and a user were to follow them, what are they able to see? Is it just like video, stories? What is it that they see exactly on the app if you follow someone?
Okay, so we have, in terms of a kind of classic social media sense, when I create a post, I can create a post and just put a comment in. I can tag an instrument that I'm following or I'm interested in. I can tag another individual, just like you can in any other social network. I can add my location if I want, if that's of interest to people. I can add a photograph of my kids or my, where I am. And, but the other things that we've done is I can also add a chart. So I can, we've made everything within Investor shareable. So I can add a news article, I can add a chart, I can annotate the charts, I could draw on the chart. It could be a simple historical chart, it could be a comparison chart, let's say looking at the performance between Microsoft and IBM, or Apple and Tesla, and I could scribble all over it. I could add a technical chart and I could scribble all over it. So we've taken the concept of everything that's shareable and all the kinds of things that we all like to share and post in other social networks. And we've added kind of the financial content and the charting and the pricing and the instruments as well to make it really relevant to a financial social network. So you can post all those things. You can, links to videos. You can post all of that into the social feed and into, the group chats and the direct messages. The other thing, though, that we think is really important is the reason that you want to be part of a financial social network is that you want to learn from other people. What are they buying? What are they selling? What do they have in their portfolio? So the other things that get posted automatically to the feed, when I buy Apple, anyone who's following me gets to see that I just bought Apple. When I sell Apple, when I close out a position or I sell Apple, everyone gets to see I've closed out Apple, anyone who wants to follow me. And so I find the people that I want to follow, and when they trade in fantasy finance, I get to see those trades. So that's a way, someone might trade in a stock I'd never heard of. And I say, I don't recognize that stock. Okay, let me do some work. And that's the way I discover things that I didn't know. And I can see someone just made 5%. I think, wow, okay, what is that someone just made? So it's a great way of discovering. And when I go to someone's profile in Investor, I get to see not only their timeline, their feed, things that they've been posting and trading. I also get to see their portfolio. So I can look at their portfolio and I can see what are the picks that they've made in their portfolio? What do they have in there? And I can also see how well they're doing this month. So I can look at their portfolio, I can see, I could see Andres is up, 3% this month. What's he got in his portfolio? What's driving that? What's driving that performance? So it's just a great way of sharing and understanding and learning from other people. That's the power of the profiles and the feed and everything, all the shareable content that we've got.
Yeah. Is there a way, because I feel this can be a touchy subject because people, they don't want to show too much of their private investments, right? A lot of people are open. They're willing to literally be completely transparent so they can, their community can learn from them, show their mistakes, show their gains, right? But maybe a lot of people don't want to show the information of their gains and whatnot. Is there a way to kind of, filter that in some sort of sense if you don't want to show all your information?
So look, we have a feature called private trading mode. Okay. It's a premium feature. It's part of our unlimited subscription, which is a $3.99 monthly subscription. And the unlimited subscription gives people access to the comparison charts, the technical charting capability. It gives people the ability to change how much they want to invest. So instead of just investing 10%, you can invest 2.5%, 5%, 10%, 20%. So it gives you a lot more flexibility on what you invest. It gives full access to the Academy after the 1 month, free trial expires. If you want to go back and check out the Academy, you've got unlimited access to that. And one of the other features it gives access to is the private trading mode as well. It's also got, something that we call safety net. So with safety net, if your portfolio ever goes below $1 million in value, at the end of the month, we top it up. So you're always starting again with $1 million. So it's got all these really cool features. And also with unlimited, you can trade as often as you like. You can buy and sell as often as you like. So it gives the full power of the investor platform in an unlimited way. And that's why we call it unlimited.
Yeah.
Private trading mode is one of those features.
I could only imagine, say Warren Buffett makes an account if he hasn't one already. And of course, everyone wants to know what is Warren Buffett doing, right? And so point is, you need to have people inside the platform who are somewhat influencers, who are good investors, that people want to know what they're doing, right? How do you incentivize, or what's been your strategy to have people, influencers, go on the platform so they can attract more customers?
Okay, fantastic question. Look, every month we have competitions. And so the best performers are in what we call the Investor Fantasy League, the IFL. And there are 3 mini leagues within the IFL. There's Raw, Supreme, and Extreme. And you can go to the leagues page and look at the leaderboards and discover those, discover the people who are performing best, the top 100 in each of the leagues. And the incentives for people to do well is we give out cash prizes at the end of every month. So, people can earn, and people do really well. The top 25 in each of the 3 leagues, walk away with cash prizes up to $500, is the highest winning prize. On top of that, what we've done is we've created another league, and we call it the $100,000 challenge. And in the $100,000 challenge, we take 10,000 people with the largest number of tickets, and you can earn tickets in a variety of ways. One of the easiest ways to earn a ticket to the 100K challenge is to invite a friend to join the Investor app. And the winner of that 100K challenge gets to manage $100,000 of real money for a month. And any profit that they make on that $100,000, they keep. Any losses, we take. So it's free money, right? When you win that $100,000. And we've got, we've had the first $100,000 challenge live. We've got our first winner. He's a young Nigerian Canadian. I think he's up in Toronto, if I'm right. And he's been managing money. You can follow him on the app. You can follow the 100K winner. And so we copy everything he's been doing. It's there in the app. He's up, I think he was up around 2%. So, he's made $2,000, so far this month. we're all rooting for him. We want him to make as much money as possible. And look, this comes down to our whole philosophy and ethos is that we believe in what we're doing, right? We really believe that we're helping people. We believe with all the tools that we've made available that we can take anyone and help them become a good and great investor. And we believe it so much that we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. And so that $100,000, that's our money, and we're willing to put it in the hands of one of our members each month to make as much money as they can out of it. And so Ola, who's our 100K winner this month, the most he'd ever managed before was $300, and he's gone from managing 300 to managing $100,000 of real money. And he just passed his financial advisory exams, I think, a few weeks ago. And he wants to get into finance. And so what an amazing experience. So those kinds of incentives, whether it's the 100K investor challenge or whether it's the monthly prizes that we have, the cash prizes that we have, there's a lot of incentive, besides obviously the peer recognition for doing well. But there are a lot of incentives for people to want to come on the platform, to learn, to become great investors, to make money. And hopefully that will jumpstart either a career in finance or even better. You don't need to go into finance to become, to invest. You can invest, using Investor, you can invest, in addition to whatever you do, right, in your career or your life. So it's something that we think everyone should be able to do.
For sure. And I think there's one thing just to create a wonderful tool for millennials, Gen Z to have access to the information, but the fact that you guys also hold these contests, write a lot of content, produce a lot of content, is another variable as well. You have both aspects, making it a closed system, like everyone can really learn and use this tool to their best benefit.
So we want to get it to the point, and we're very close to doing this. We want to get it to the point where you will never need any other financial app. You won't need a news app. You won't need a market data app. You won't need a brokerage app. You won't need a crypto app. You won't need a banking app. You won't even need your social network. You won't even need any other game, right? It's all there in one place. Investor is kind of, the only thing you need to have. It should be right there in the middle, your homepage on your mobile phone. It should be the go-to app for anything related to finance. And we're very, very close to achieving that ambition, and just making it a wonderful place for people to really, to learn, to grow, to make money, and as we say, to take charge of their financial future.
Sure. So if people want to download the app, know more about Investor, where can they go?
Go to the App Store, go to the Play Store, INVSTR, free to download. Download the app, get involved, start playing fantasy finance, get active in the new user leagues that we create every month. So there's always a community. We have great community managers. Any questions you've got, any feedback you've got, more importantly, message us. Anyone can message me who goes into the app. You can message anyone. I do reply. So go to the app stores, download the app. That's the best thing. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. On Twitter, we're InvestStreams, INVSTREAMS. Everywhere else, we're Investor. We're on Medium as well. So lots of places to follow us. We have a website, www.invstr.com. So, but the most important thing is to download the app, get involved, start investing in yourself, I think is the most important thing. Start building that knowledge, that confidence, that experience in a risk-free way in the financial markets. So then you're ready to take on the real world and, and start investing for real.
Awesome. So I'll put all those links in the show notes, the app, all the social media pages, Medium. But if people want to find you as well, Kerim, where can they hit you up? You can hit me up in the app. You can hit me up in the app through a direct message. I'm at Kerim, Kerim. So I'm the original Kerim on Investor. So you can direct message me on Investor. You can follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
I've got several thousand people on LinkedIn. So connect with me in the app or on LinkedIn. Those are probably the two best ways to get hold of me.
Awesome. So I'll put that in the show notes as well. So if anyone wants to find you, ask for advice, then they can just DM you.
Fantastic. Please do that.
Awesome. So thank you, Kerim.
No, thanks so much. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks so much.
For sure. So because you're the host, you're gonna have to send the file.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I can edit it. Yeah. I use something called WeTransfer. I mean, it's just an easy way